And Indiana has done it. Their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship, knocking off the Minnesota Lynx. This is Howard setting up McDonald, knocking down the tray. Finds a cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
Imagine a team facing impossible odds. Their biggest star sidelined by injury. A key veteran brought in for leadership, who instead just walked away unexpectedly. They were facing the most dominant force in their league. On their home court, in a championship game, everyone said they had zero chance of winning. The spreads had them losing by a landslide 14 points. Experts had already written them off, even scheduling the highlight reels of their inevitable defeat. They were set up for a spectacular failure. But what happened next would not only shock the entire basketball world, but change how you see this team forever. Because the Indiana Fever, crippled and counted out, just delivered a masterclass in heart and determination, taking down the unbeatable Minnesota Lynx to claim their first ever Commissioner's Cup championship. And what their sideline superstar, Caitlin Clark, said after the game. Just 6 words that perfectly captured why this win means absolutely everything. You won't believe the untold story of how they pulled it off. Picture this, the Indiana Fever walking into the Target Center for their first ever Commissioner's Cup final with their roster visibly falling apart. Caitlin Clark, their electric superstar, the engine driving everything. The reason arenas across the country were packed was sitting on the bench. A nagging groin injury had sidelined her for the 3rd straight game. This wasn't just any player missing. This was their leading scorer, their playmaking maestro, the undeniable face of the franchise. Her absence alone was a massive blow, leaving a gaping hole the team had struggled desperately to fill in recent games. But that wasn't the end of their problems. Darius Dantas, another important piece of their rotation, was thousands of miles away playing internationally, thinning their bench even further. And then there was the situation with Dana Bonner. This was supposed to be a veteran presence, a source of experience and leadership brought in specifically during the off-season to guide the younger players. Instead, she unexpectedly parted ways with the team after just 9 games under controversial circumstances. Talk about leaving your teammates high and dry when they needed you most. Many saw it as abandoning ship when things got tough, setting a concerning example for the young roster.
With Caitlin and her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer to playing?
She's making progress. You know, I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. You know, making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are 2 different things. And we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks. And that's the priority right now.
And if that wasn't enough, look at who they had to face. The Minnesota Lynx weren't just good, they were an absolute juggernaut. Heading into the final, they boasted a dominant 14-1 record, easily making them the best team in the entire league. They were the defending Commissioner's Cup champions, playing on their home court in front of a deafening, sold-out crowd, ready to watch them repeat. With Napheesa Collier leading the charge as a leading MVP candidate, the Lynx felt genuinely unbeatable. Vegas odds makers agreed, pegging the Lynx as massive 14-point favorites. The message from the basketball world was clear. Indiana had no business being on the same court. Pundits were openly discussing how big the blowout would be, how Indiana was simply outmatched without their key players. Here's where the story gets even tougher before it gets better. Without Caitlin Clark, The Indiana Fever leading up to this game looked like a completely different, often disjointed team. They'd lost 3 of their last 5 games, frequently squandering significant double-digit leads in frustrating collapses that should have been easy wins. The offensive pace had slowed to a crawl, completely killing the rhythm that made them so dangerous earlier in the season. Ball movement seemed to disappear. Instead of fluid team basketball, players often resorted to hero ball, forcing up difficult contested shots instead of making the extra pass. You could see the frustration mounting, like watching a team struggle to find its identity after losing its floor general. Aaliyah Boston, one of their most dominant weapons, wasn't getting the ball in the low post spots where she thrives, often watching guards hoist up perimeter shots instead of feeding her when she had position. The team looked lost, struggling on both ends of the court. Opponents knew they could key in on slowing Kelsey Mitchell and Boston without the threat of Clark breaking down their defense.
DeWanna Bonner was brought in for leadership. She was brought in for leadership. And do you want to know all that these young players learned from her? If things don't go your way, refuse to show up. Continue to get paid a max contract while you are sitting out, refusing to play.
She got benched. She couldn't handle it. I want out. She's not playing well. She's getting criticized. I want out.
They look pretty flawless, in the way that they're playing. I don't know if different is the word as much as they look even more connected. They're a team that was connected a year ago, but really the nuance of having each other's back on the defensive end, of knowing where your teammate's going to be, discipline to coverages, the connectivity that they have on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, the way that they move with and without the ball, the way that the ball moves makes it really tough to cover. I often say that offense is like a dance, and they are flowing, man. They are making music, and there's no doubt about it. So we have to try to be disruptive, and we have to try to take them out of that rhythm.
Yet, against all odds, something fundamentally shifted the moment the ball tipped off in the Commissioner's Cup final. You could see it in their eyes, a different kind of focus, a collective fire that hadn't been there in recent games. This wasn't the struggling team everyone had watched limp through the past couple of weeks. This was a team playing with a renewed sense of purpose, perhaps fueled by being completely written off. Head coach Stephanie White's motto, "Pressure is a privilege," seemed to resonate deeply. They stepped onto the court like a group determined to prove everyone, including themselves, wrong. They came out firing on all cylinders, making a silent statement. They were here to fight, injured superstar or not.
Coach, this is your first season with this batch of players, and so I'm just wondering if the Commissioner's Cup is just a stepping stone for greater things to come.
Well, I hope so. But at the same time, we want to take care of business now, right? We want to win a cup. So we're not looking at it necessarily as a stepping stone. We're looking at it as an opportunity to win. And then we're looking at it, as coaches, as an opportunity to continue to stack days. We haven't had a lot of consistency in our lineup. And so we haven't really built that camaraderie and connectedness that we need in order for us to be successful. But we can take another step towards growth, another step towards consistency on the floor, in execution, in energy level. We're playing the best team in the league right now, and we've got to come out and we got to play our A game.
And fight they did, led by an incredible group of players who stepped into the spotlight when it mattered most. Kelsey Mitchell immediately took over as a primary scoring threat, driving fearlessly to the basket and showcasing her lethal perimeter game, shooting an unbelievable 41% from beyond the arc in the game. Her ability to get her shot off quickly became a weapon the Lynx couldn't contain. Then, Aaliyah Boston finally got the ball in her spots and unleashed the dominance everyone knew she possessed. She finished with a monster double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists, going toe-to-toe with all-star Nafisa Collier and more than holding her own. You could see the confidence building with every possession.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around where everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to. We always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us, it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Anyone else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Head coach Stephanie White has a motto. She says, pressure is a privilege. You came into the former champion's house and took them down on their home floor. How does it feel to bring Indiana their first championship?
It feels great. We knew that we had to come in here with energy. We know that they're a great team and they were going to go on runs. And so for us, it was about containing those runs and then going on our own.
But the true revelation was Natasha Howard. She delivered an absolutely spectacular MVP-level performance that completely changed the game. Howard earned Commissioner's Cup MVP honors, stuffing the stat sheet with 16 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. A former Defensive Player of the Year, her defensive intensity was crucial, particularly guarding Collier and limiting her looks while forcing turnovers. And under immense pressure, she was perfect from the free throw line, going 8 for 8. It was a dominant performance on both ends when the Fever needed it most. Beyond the starters, Sophie Cunningham provided a huge spark off the bench with 13 points and 7 rebounds, including multiple clutch three-pointers that helped the Fever overcome an early deficit. New signing Aari McDonald made an immediate impact with 12 points, and Lexi Hall stepped up with important contributions.
What happened next will give you chills. The Indiana Fever decided to write their own story. From the opening tip, you could see something different in their eyes. This wasn't the same team that had been struggling without Clark. They came out firing on all cylinders, making sure they win one for their injured superstar.
What gave you the confidence to come in here and take down this team on their home floor?
We knew we were capable. God has equipped us. And so for us about coming in here and doing what we know what to do, I think the entire game, coach just continued to instill that confidence, continue to tell us take it one possession at a time, and we did that.
The game plan was obviously to wall off the paint against you and Tosh, but both of you guys finished with double-doubles. How did you guys get freed up? And for you especially, how'd you get going late in this game?
I mean, it started with Tosh. Tosh, that entire first half and even that entire game, just really took it to them, made them have to guard. And so with her attacking from different angles, they had to space out a little bit. And that fourth quarter, I was able to score.
And finally, Aaliyah, what are you going to do with your prize money?
That's for me to know. Boom!
This was more than individual brilliance, though. It was a team reborn. They suddenly remembered how to play together, with the ball moving crisply and purpose. 5 players scored in double figures, showcasing their balanced attack. Their defense became absolutely suffocating. They completely shut down the dominant Lynx offense over the final 3 quarters, holding Minnesota to just 39 points and a dismal 34.9% shooting percentage, even when the Lynx tried to claw their way back, cutting the lead to 7 early in the fourth quarter and getting the home crowd roaring. The Fever responded immediately with key baskets from Boston and McDonald, refusing to let the Lynx get back into the game.
Howard finds a cutting McDonald, easy deuce.
Beautiful read by Natasha Howard. And Aari McDonald, that opened up the three-point shot.
Howard to steal. Open floor in front of her. Got the lay. Indiana battling.
This crowd is quiet. Natasha Howard is a former Defensive Player of the Year, knows the ball is coming to Nafisa Collier, just gets that deflection, gets going in the open court. And it is all Indiana in terms of the momentum in this game right now. This building is quiet.
The final buzzer sounded with the Indiana Fever victorious, 74-59. They had done the impossible. The underdogs who everyone had written off, who were missing key players and dealing with off-court drama, had walked into the defending champion's house and taken the trophy. The basketball world was in absolute shock. The sheer unexpectedness of it was highlighted by ESPN, who reportedly had a pre-scheduled video ready titled, "Lynx Dominate Fever to Win Commissioner Cup," that they had to scramble to change after the game. It was a victory built on heart, determination, and proving that true championship character runs deeper than any single player. Even Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeves showed class in defeat, admitting the Fever just sort of beat us, acknowledging the strength and execution of the Indiana team.
It was a team effort tonight, but with 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, your MVP is Natasha Howard.
Sophie Cunningham brought the fire the team needed off the bench. She provided a significant spark with 13 points and 7 rebounds, including 3 three-pointers that helped the Fever rally from an early deficit. Cunningham's clutch performance had fans going wild.
But here's what really stole the headlines and stirred the pot after the game. While she was sidelined with her injury, Caitlin Clark remained a visible and supportive presence throughout the final, cheering on her teammates and staying engaged. Everyone was eager to hear her reaction to this stunning upset. And as the team celebrated in the locker room, Clark delivered 6 words that cut right to the core of everything that's been bubbling beneath the surface in the league all season. Captured on video, holding the trophy, Clark simply stated, "Everybody in the league is sick." Those 6 words were pure gold. They perfectly captured what many were thinking, but hesitant to say out loud. Clark's direct statement immediately ignited discussion, interpreted by many as a direct call-out to the perceived jealousy or tension surrounding her presence and popularity in the WNBA. It added a layer of controversial intrigue to an already incredible underdog story. The locker room celebration was electric, with Clark fully engaged despite her injury, playfully using the Commissioner's Cup trophy like a celebratory chalice and calling out teammates to join the party. It showed her connection to the team and reinforced their us against the world mentality that fueled this unexpected triumph.
Gives it up to Mitchell. Mitchell. Over to Cunningham, long range, bottoms! Big time trifecta, Sophie Cunningham.
Coming into this, you talked about so much, hey, you got to have the right approach, don't trick this off, like have the focus. Take me inside that mindset of you guys coming into this game and how tonight was just a collective effort that got it done.
I describe this entire experience as a gut check experience, and I mean that intentionally. I mean physically, mentally, psychologically. It was a gut check moment today, and I think for us, it was about making sure we won those moments that mattered. And I thought down the stretch of the game, we did an unbelievable job of just staying together, weathering the storm, and kind of utilizing what we needed to based on our schemes and our personnel from practice. And I thought down the stretch of the game specifically, we bought in. All 5 of us, whoever was on the floor, bought in, and I think you guys got to see that.
This victory was far more than just winning a trophy. It was a powerful statement about overcoming adversity, external doubts, and internal challenges. The Indiana Fever proved they have the depth, the heart, and the character to win even when they are counted out, when key players are missing, and when unexpected departures shake the team. They showed that true champions find a way to rise above it all. This win proves this Fever squad is built for the future. They now know, and the rest of the league knows, they can win without their biggest star. And that undeniable fact makes them absolutely dangerous, potentially unstoppable. when Caitlin Clark returns healthy and joins the team that just proved it can win on its own, the future for this group just got incredibly exciting.
Guys, I just know everybody in the league is sick. They're pissed.
I know it's not a WNBA championship, but to celebrate a championship nonetheless on Target Center on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, we have a resilient group. You know, they're tough mentally, physically. They pull for one another. You know, I don't know if it's something that I learned that I didn't already know. It's just I'm proud for them that they can see it come to fruition. Being able to handle the ebbs and flows of the game, being able to give to one another regardless of struggles. I mean, we had some players that were struggling. We had some moments where we struggled, but we still gave to one another. And that's a growth area for our team. I thought like our execution through 3 quarters on both ends of the floor was really good against an outstanding team. I mean, I'm just really proud of this group.